many businesses or how many industries have successfully defended their business against technology disruption in the last 250 years? Zero. Nada. Right? None of them. So, what we learn from this is every business at some point in time gets disrupted by technology. And you know what? It's banking's turn. Now, let me explain why Uber is an interesting play here. What has happened in the past is we've looked at processes, we've looked at technologies that replace human automation. There's not a lot of human processes in banking, right? Well, there's tellers at banks, but well, there's compliance officers, and there's risk officers, and there's a lot of people in bank process, right? So we could be disrupted. But here's the interesting thing. What we learn about Uber and its disruption was not that it fundamentally changed the technology of a business, it changed the experience of the journey. And this is something new, is the disruption in banking is going to be about two things: experience and advice. We're going to get to the advice portion a little bit later. Now, this is really at the heart of this disruption, the mobile phone. This is what we thought the mobile phone or smartphones would be like 10 years ago. You see, it looks like a little computer, right? You have a screen you pull out, you have a keyboard. You know, BlackBerry's not so popular now, you know. It was very popular here in Mexico, right? But Apple now and Samsung. But Steve Jobs and Johnny Ive really changed the view of what a mobile phone was. It went from being a small computer to being a personal device, something that was an extension of our personality, something that was, we have our friends' details on there, we have our phone, we make our phone calls, we have our pictures of our family, we share what we're eating for breakfast on Instagram. This is a very personal device now. Have you used Uber before? You pull out your phone and you can order the car on the phone and you can see the driver coming to you. Now, have you ever ordered a taxi in Mexico City on a Friday afternoon when it's raining? You know what I'm talking about, right? It can be very stressful waiting for the taxi. But with Uber, you can see exactly where the driver is, how many minutes before he gets to you. It's very clever. This is the experience design that's changed here. But they also, at the end of your journey, how do you pay for the Uber taxi? Well, you don't have to pull out your wallet. There's no credit card. There's no cash. It's all built into the app. This is all part of the experience design. In fact, Uber has taught us that mobile payments are just part of a journey. They're not a distinct event on their own. This is a big shift. Because in any other taxi in the world, the payment is a separate, distinct event at the end of the journey. It's just part of the journey with Uber. This is experience design. Mobile is not like any computer we've ever used before because it is in your life. It is changing the way you behave. It's changing the way you live your life. The internet didn't do that. Sure, it gave us email and we could buy a book online, but computers didn't do that. The steam machine didn't do that. The car did. But when we look at these technology advances over the years, it's very rare that technology changes behavior so completely. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is the smartphone, sure, but not everyone has a smartphone. But by 2020, 80% of the Mexican population will have a smartphone. 80%. We will have 1 billion people in Africa get onto the internet through a smartphone in the next 5 years. This is the fastest growth we will have ever seen on the internet. Today, the taxi market in San Francisco is still $150 million, but Uber's market on top of the taxi market is already $500 million. So they've created demand that wasn't even there with the taxi business because they're not a taxi company. They're an experience. And this is the thing we learn about the disruption that's coming on banking.